Hey, welcome back to the Mistwood Publishing Book Club. I am your host, S.O. Mowry, and today we're looking at Chapter 27, Justice is Served, in my book, The Veil of Stars, which we've been working through. So this chapter gives a conclusion to the Zach Hale storyline. This is going to be a pretty short video this week. But we finally have Hale getting revenge on the people that wronged him, the people that murdered his wife, the people that sold his son into slavery. Well, more slavery. We also get a name drop of the goddess of the storm, Mira, and how the Scan kind of worship her. And that's a character that's going to come more prevalent in the next book and be really prevalent in Saga 3. So that's a small, it's not a name that, it's not like if you missed that it's a big deal. But since you're watching the book club, you know, part of the idea is that I'm going to give you inside information and extra information. So Mira, who's named after my cat, is the goddess of calamity and the goddess of the storm, and she's going to be a big deal moving forward. Hale and Zach get their revenge here quite brutally from all of the generals and the king that betrayed them at the beginning of the book in part 1, and it's really nice to see that kind of conclude and get revenge. But this is going to haunt Hale in the future, because the idea is, well, if life is so precious, you know, it's basically a question of the death penalty, and that Hale's going to end up struggling with. Now, I personally am totally fine with the death penalty in certain situations, this being probably one of them, but, you know, Hale and Narbad are supposed to be people that are better than me, so Hale's going to wrestle with this. Then we get a nice little conclusion. It's a very short chapter, but we get a little conclusion with King Vlad saying goodbye to them, and we kind of get a little bit of a look at where Hale and Zach are going next. They're looking for Narbad, and they find out that he was sold to Ruth, who, as the records say, is the Prince of Grendel. So they are headed down to the Elven Kingdom, and that's where we will pick up for them in Saga 2. And the chapter ends on a pretty high note for these two. And I will, since this is such a short chapter, I'll just take the rest of this video to give like a brief kind of advertisement for what they're doing in Saga 2 without spoiling anything. So in Saga 2, they're looking for Narbad. And that's the whole thing they're doing in the book, but it's a little bit more complicated than that. First few chapters, they're getting down to the Elven Kingdom, which is a pretty far walk, and they are walking with, you know, orcs. And so first they're going to, as this chapter suggests, they're going to go to the city of Landsea, the Western Kingdom, as it were, and some orcs will find refuge there. If you recall from in this book, when Zach gives his origin story, if you will, the people that he helped, John and I'm blanking on the female's name. I want to say Kenny, but that's definitely Jenny. It's Jenny and John, I think. They went to Landsea, and so now our companions are going there, and so it wouldn't be crazy to think that maybe you'll get to meet those, and Zach will maybe get some closure on that as well on their path down to find Narbad. Additionally, I've always wanted to write a gladiator storyline, and so this is a minor story, but in order to advertise their storyline, you have to say this. Zach and Hale do end up being gladiators at a certain point in the book, and I have a lot of fun with that. A lot of cool fights and a lot of psychological, Hale and Zach, their friendship being tested, their moral compasses being tested, their sanity being tested. The next book really does pit all of the characters. It brings them to the brink. Whether that's Narbad, Talia, Ruth, Zach, Hale, or the new companions, they all will be pushed to the brink. And you can't really ask for anything else in a book. That's why, like, when people are like, man, I want a new season of this show that I love, and I'm like, or a sequel to the movie, I'm like, but in order for there to be an interesting movie, there needs to be a conflict, which means you're going to have to take something from the hero. Whatever was established as a happy ending before would have to be disrupted in order to get the hero to fight again, right? So like if they were to do a sequel to the Dark Knight trilogy, it'd be like, well, you'd have to undo what was done at the end of Dark Knight Rises. And I feel like that cheapens the ending. So sometimes things are better left just ended. But we're far away from the end for a lot of these characters, and so I can still torture and play with Hale and Zach. It's not like we leave this book with Hale and Zach on a happily ever after ending. So it should be fun. The next chapter is chapter 28, Servant of Redemption, which is similar to the title of the next book, which I don't know if I've revealed yet, but it's Servants of Judgment. And that book, we get closer and closer to that book. But yeah, I will see you for the next video. Peace out.